Good morning and welcome to part 2. Today we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. Today I'm going to focus on consecutive integer problems. So I hope that you all remember what the word consecutive means. Pardon me. Consecutive means in order or one right after another. Consecutive integers. So if I was number 1, who would come behind me, class? 2. And who would come behind 2? 3. And then 4. So consecutive integers could be given by the following pattern. N would be the first integer, plus n plus 1 would be the second integer, plus n plus 2 would be the third integer. So it's important to make sure when we do these word problems that we read and see what they're asking for. Are they asking for consecutive integers, one that's coming right after another? Or are they asking for consecutive even integers? So let's think of the first even number, which would be 2. What would be the next consecutive even integer after 2, class? 4. And then 6. And then 8. And then 10. Now, let's go ahead and take our brains and shift. Now let's think of consecutive odd integers. The first consecutive odd integer would be 1. Then 5, then 7. Good. Now, depending upon how many integers they're asking you to find. If I said find 3 consecutive integers that add up to a certain number, the pattern would be n plus 1 plus n plus 2. If I asked you to find consecutive even or consecutive odd, and I've made this very simple. A lot of math texts want you to learn 3 different formulas. But let's think. Consecutive even integers. The first number will be n. The second number will be n plus 2. The third number will be n plus 4. So I want anybody, and let's not start with 2. So give me an even number. Any even number. Greater than 6. 12. So the first number is 12. So if this is 12, then the next number would be 12 plus 2 or 14. Is 14 even? Yes. Then the next number would be 12 plus 4 or what? Are 12, 14, and 16 even numbers? Are 12, 14, and 16 consecutive even numbers? Good job. But Miss Urso, I don't understand. Why would consecutive even integers and consecutive odd integers have the same pattern? Yes.
So, for the consecutive even integers, do we always use that formula?
Yes, you're going to use n plus 2 plus n plus 4. You're also using that same formula for consecutive odd integers because give me an odd number, any odd number.
35.
Okay, 35. So this first number here would be 35. 35 plus 2 would be 37. 35 plus 4 would be 39. Those are all consecutive odd numbers. So the best way to do this is to do a problem. So let's go ahead and take a look and solve one of these together. The problem says find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is 54. Find 3 consecutive. This is in your notes. You do not have to copy it. It's on page 5 in your notes. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 54. Step number 1, which pattern am I going to use? Which formula am I going to use? Am I going to use n plus 1 plus n plus 2? Or am I going to use n plus 2 plus n plus 4? Which one, class? I'm finding consecutive integers. I'm not finding consecutive even or odd. Yes. Consecutive integers. Go ahead and look back at your notes. What were the 3 patterns? So sorry. Here we go. Consecutive integers would be n plus 1 plus n plus 2. So if they say find 3 consecutive integers whose sum equals 54, I am going to use this pattern. N plus 2. n plus 1. Now you guys got me saying the wrong thing. N plus 1 plus n plus 2. Are you with me? Okay, so that's the pattern. How many integers are they asking me to find? 3, which means I need 3 terms. So it would look like this. N plus 1 plus n plus 2 equals 54. That's my equation. So listen carefully. On the test, on the homework, write an equation. You have to write the equation. An equation has to have an equal sign. No equal sign, no credit. That's the equation. In the next step, you can remove the parentheses and you can add like terms. So this would be 3n plus 3 equals 54. Does everyone understand what I just did? Okay, now it's a multi-step equation. We add it like terms. We subtract 3 from each side, and we get 3n equals 51. What do I do now? Divide each side by 3, and n equals what, guys? N equals 17. Okay, this is where people stop. How many integers did it ask me to find? 3. So the first one, n, equals 17. N plus 1 would be 17 plus 1, which equals 18. And n plus 2 would be 17 plus 2, which is 19. So the 3 consecutive integers would be 17, 18, and 19. Now you want to check to make sure, does 17 plus 18 plus 19 equal 54? Yes, it does. That means we have solved the equation correctly. Now let me go ahead and caution you on something. I know some of you are math brainiacs, and so you're going to say, well, I'm going to start with a higher number, and I'm just going to go ahead and guess, because that's how they taught you to do it in elementary. So if you guess and give me the answer but no equation, there's no credit. You need to write the algebraic equation. You need to read the problem. It said consecutive integers. So I'm just going to be really, really nice. I want you to understand the concept. So I will provide you with the equations. I will provide you with the 3 different formulas for consecutive integer, consecutive even, and consecutive odd. And that way, instead of you trying to remember and forcing it into your brain, although I don't think it's really that difficult, the formula is there for you. Now you have to be able to read the problem and apply it. Let's look at another example. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 96. So consecutive integers, first thing I want you to think is pattern. Who knows what pattern I'm using? Go ahead. Okay. I know somebody's going to ask this question. Miss Urso, why is it always going to be n plus 1 plus n plus 2? Well, first of all, it asked for 3 consecutive integers, so those are 3 consecutive. If it asked for 4, then you would have to add another term, correct? Okay. Whose sum is 96. So let's finish the equation. What's missing? Equals 96. So everybody go ahead and solve that for me. Here's your solution. Did anybody get n equals 31? And then n plus 1 would be 31 plus 1 or And then n plus 2 would be 31 plus 2, or 33. So your solution would be 31, 32, 33. God bless you. So let's look at it one more time. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 96. You must write the equation. Does everyone understand? Then you can do your work. Your answer, the 3 integers, go here. What should you always do with those 3 numbers? Add them up to make sure they equal the sum. Now let me caution you and say, some of you are going to use the wrong formula. When you use the wrong formula, you're going to get answers like this: 30.234, 34.78, and you're going to realize, hopefully, those are not integers. Remember, integers do not have any fraction or decimal associated with it. So that should be a clue that you used the wrong formula. Here's a good one. Find 2 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 176. So the first thing we need is, what pattern am I using? Am I going to use n plus 1, or am I going to use n plus 2? When you have the answer, raise your hand. Thank you. Yes. The second one, 2 consecutive odd. So this pattern here is for consecutive even or odd. So my equation would be n plus 2. They only want 2 terms, so I only need 2, equals what? What was the sum? 176. So that's my equation. Add like terms. Subtract 2. And you get 2n equals 174. What do I do now, guys? Divide by 2. Awesome job. And I get n equals what? What's 87. So then n plus 2 would equal what? Okay, so there's 2 things I want you to ask yourself. I'm going back to the problem. 2 consecutive odd. Is 87 an odd number? Is 89 an odd number? Are they consecutive odd? Do they come right after each other? And then when... Yes, they do. 87, 89, consecutive odd. Then when you add them together, do they equal 174? 176. I'm so sorry. 174 was after we subtract the 2. Thank you so much. So let's get rid of that and make this correct. 7 and 9 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 and 8 is 9, and 8 is 17. That tells you that you have solved the equation correctly. So your equation, one more time, would be n plus 2 equals 176. And your solution would be 87 and 89. Correct? All right. Anybody have a question? Okay. I'm going to go back to one problem that we tried to do earlier on another video, and I had a number incorrect. So we're going to try to make it work this time. So here we go. Let's go ahead and look at this problem, and let's get it right. Okay, there was a bacteria population that tripled in number. On day 7, there were 2,187,000 bacteria. How many bacteria were present on day 1? So what we went ahead and did was we went ahead and made a chart. We made a chart, and we numbered the chart by days. So on day 7, there were 2,187,000 bacteria. Is everyone with me? Okay, 2,187,000 bacteria. So to find out how many were on day 1, let's just think about this for a minute. To go from day 6 to day 7, whatever number bacteria there were on day 6, we had to multiply that by 3. So to undo this process, we are going to divide by 3, which means on day 6, we had 729,000 bacteria. To go find out how many were on day 5, we divided by 3, and that gave me 243,000 bacteria. I divide that by 3, which gives me 81,000 bacteria. Divide that by 3, and that gives me 27,000 bacteria. Divide that by 3, that gives me 9,000 bacteria. Divide that by 3, and on day 1, there were 3,000 bacteria. One more time. A bacteria population triples in number each day. If there were 2,187,000 bacteria on day 7, how many bacteria were there on day 1? We realized that to go backwards from day 7 to day 1, we took the ending number of 2,187,000 bacteria. We divided it by 3, which gave me day 6, 729,000. Divide that by 3 to get day 5, and kept going until I got to the number of bacteria we started with, which was day 1. So let me just go ahead and clarify something. Again, we've worked a lot of problems today. I want to make sure that everyone totally understands where the homework is coming from this evening. So the homework for 2.3, Part 2, is coming from your notes. From your notes, we are going to do page 4, 13, 14, and 15. Can everyone see that in your notes? Okay. Then from your homework packet, which is the skills practice. So we are doing the second half of the homework we did last night. We're doing the bottom of the page. So that would be page 3 to correspond with lesson 2.3, 19 through 26 all. This will be for 1 grade. Please make sure you use the formulas. Everything is there in your notes, and it's going on notebook or graph paper. Make sure you write the equations, show work, box your answer. I hope you all have a blessed day, and thank you for listening in to Lessons with Urso via recording. And thank you to my first period for being so gracious to me always.